A look at how that exchange played out.
In multiple interviews this week, Donald Trump repeatedly referred to prominent Democrats and others on the left in the United States, American citizens, as, quote, the enemy from within, unquote. And he suggested as president he would want to use the National Guard or military against them. Let me play some of that for our viewers.
The bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
One of the first things you did when you joined Congress was to create the Honor and Civility Caucus. Does wanting to use the military against political opponents, would that pass muster with the Civility Caucus?
That's not. Jake, you know that's not what he's talking about there. What he's talking about is marauding gangs of dangerous, violent people who are destroying public property.
Here's what he said when asked about it the next day.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists, and they're sick. I use a guy like Adam Schiff because they made up the Russia hoax. It took 2 years to solve the problem. Absolutely nothing was done wrong, et cetera, et cetera. They're dangerous for our country. We have China, we have Russia, we have all these countries. If you have a smart president, they can all be handled. The more difficult are, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick and they're so evil.
That's what he's talking about, using the U.S. military against, not marauding gangs of Venezuelan.
Wait a minute.
Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul. So let me just say, if a Democratic presidential candidate said that you and your wife were evil and that the military should be used against you, I would say that's disgusting.
Well, thank you. And some have said that about us because they don't like my politics. I did not hear President Trump in that clip say he's going to sic the military on Adam Schiff. That's not what he's saying. You got two different clips in two different contexts. What President Trump is talking about is that they have been attacking and maligning him from the day he came down that golden escalator. Everybody knows that's true. In 2015, 2016, that's when this began. He's been the most attacked, maligned political figure in U.S. history. They've tried to kill him twice in the last few months. I mean, this is real, and he feels that acutely. And, Jake, you would, too. If you were under attack like he is all the time, every day. I mean Iran, who has assassination attempts out against him.
But that's not
crazy, dangerous people
Adam
in the
Schiff
country who
and Nancy Pelosi
get on rooftops
are not trying to assassinate Donald Trump. I mean, there's this conflation of anybody.
They're not, Jake. They're not. But the political attacks have been relentless, and they have been baseless. And the colleagues in the House say he must be eliminated. He must be extinguished.
He's literally talking about
this stuff is over the top.
You know, against Democrats. I mean, he's literally talking.
No, he's not. No,
yes, he is.
No, he's not, Jake. No, he's not. No, he's talking about using the National Guard and the military to keep the peace in our streets.
Don't really understand why Speaker Mike Johnson would like to participate in a cover-up, and also, quite frankly, for Republicans out there, this could be you on a bad day. So let me go through this. I thought that was
Nancy
unbelievable.
Pelosi. We're talking about Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, and he shifts into they investigated him and they tried to kill him. And fortunately, Jake said, who's they? Who's
right.
they?
No, doing a great job. And you know what? Jake had the right clip. It was so easy to have the right clip. Anyhow, the point I think we need to look at here is what Donald Trump has done in the past. What facts do we have to base what we are seeing on? Even though Republicans continue to try and detract and I think follow what you have rightfully called the Trump apologist playbook and pretend that things that were said weren't said or that he doesn't mean them. Here's how he means them. Donald Trump campaigned in his first campaign against abortion. He said, we got to get rid of it. He said he's going to overturn Roe. He said women should be punished. Roe has been overturned and women are being punished. Nobody knows the Trump playbook and the fact that Trump is serious more than women across America. Women are paying the price.
And before the election, what did they say? Oh, no. Trump even said, oh, no, Roe's not going to be overturned.
So what he does is he says extremely serious things about using the military to attack his enemies. He means it, but he also distracts it. And in the same day, on a particular day, he'll say use the word schlonging against Harvey Weinstein or whatever he's trying to talk about that makes no sense. And there's all this a flutter about he used that word, or Arnold Palmer's manlyhood.
Penis, yeah.
I mean, he did that. And look, we're talking about it. But you know what? Not that much, because we find his obsession with genitalia boring. We actually think what's interesting here is the fact that he wants to use the military to go against his enemies. Now, if you're one of those people who thinks he doesn't mean it or thinks he's joking, let me ask you, what presidential candidate makes that kind of joke? And quite frankly, is not questioned about it many times over. That's not a joke. That's not even close to a joke.
Well,
that's not even the kind of joke I would make that sometimes lands badly.
He keeps coming back
He's
to
serious.
it. And what's crazy is Glenn Youngkin made a fool of himself last week, saying, oh, no, that's not what he was saying. He's not talking about Democrats being the enemy within. The next day, Donald Trump said, yes, it is. And he talked about Democrats being the enemy within, and talked about Adam Schiff. And then he talked about Nancy Pelosi. And then he talked about it on Friday, the enemy within. Democrats are the enemy within. And saying that she is not as much of an enemy, and Putin is not as much of an enemy, and Kim Jong-un not as much of an enemy or a danger as elected